It's no surprise people are shit nowadays and society's gone to hell. But a reason why is because the average person is a brutally selfish individual. And people like you and me, empathetic people, people who are quite sensitive, people who have good morals and values, are on the receiving end of this selfishness and bullshit. And if you are sick and tired of bullshit, join 800 plus other people who are leveling up through truth in my community, the No Bullshit Society. It's free to join. The link's in the description and in the pinned comment just down below. So think about that for 1 second. The average person being brutally selfish. And by brutally, I mean on a narcissistic level. We're talking about getting up and having affairs and leaving your family. We're talking about stealing and betraying, stabbing in the back. In fact, I think the scariest and most frightening enemy of all are those who pretend to be your friends, your confidants, your family, your lovers. This wave of narcissism has happened for the last 10 or so years, and without getting too political about it, it's directly in line with certain moments in history. In particular, the rise of social media. Social media gave idiots a platform. And on top of giving idiots a platform, it celebrated idiocy. It celebrated narcissism. It celebrated people saying, look at me, please keep looking at me and paying me attention. With all of that happening, and again, people's egos being inflated, with that, the average looking person, the average person in general, a person with an average salary, just someone remarkably mediocre and average, now thinks of themselves in a very different light. They have deluded themselves and allowed others to delude themselves to believe that they are something special, that they are gracious, they are wonderful, that they're far more attractive than they think they are as well. And with that, they go through the world, through life, through society, interactions, even their jobs, incredibly entitled. And here's the scary part. They get away with it. You, on the other hand, are very hardworking. You've got fantastic morals. You keep your head down. You get on with it. You grind. You hustle. You try to live by truth. And you get burnt. You get stabbed in the back. You get literally shat on. You get mistreated. You get abused. You get disrespected. So is the answer for you to become brutally selfish? Absolutely not. Because with that brutal selfishness is an egomaniac. I want us now to get into the mindset of these individuals. This is someone with a very fragile ego. This is an individual who never really believed in themselves. This is someone who's quite lazy. This is somebody who just never really bothered to even think deeply in their lives at all. And yet, that shift happened where attention came their way, where ideas came their way. And rather than being inspired by others, they looked at other people saying, well, if they can do it, I can do it, and I'm going to take more. I'm better. I'm the best. I'm amazing. These are the people that take Ozempic tablets and claim they worked really hard on their weight loss. These are people who claim that they've made their wealth, if they have any wealth, purely from basically credit card debt and loans. And they do that fake rich thing where they buy expensive things, assuming it makes them look rich and respected. These are the people that post, ironically, motivational quotes and videos on their social media. In fact, they might even have it tattooed on their skin, be kind, when they're actually the opposite of it. They're selfish bastards. They're rude bitches. They're brutally selfish. To be selfish is not a good thing. To be assertive and stand up for yourself is very different. which I'll touch on a bit later. But to be selfish is to mean that you think, and in a brutal way, that the world owes you something. That people and society, whoever is around you, are lucky to be in your presence. When you are disgustingly average. When you bring nothing of worth, truthfully, to the table. When you're just you. But that's not what they think. The delusion internally goes a little bit something like this. They say to themselves, I'm incredible. I am so special. I'm amazing. I'm a queen. I'm a king. I'm so hot. I'm so sexy. They're lucky to have me. Unfortunately, like a virus, it spreads to other people who think and idolize these people as well, inflating the ego even more. And once they reach their final form, they are a full-fledged narcissist. And where it gets really nasty is in these circumstances. In sensitive moments when you have and will go through hardships. God forbid an illness. God forbid a tragic loss. Maybe you're really at rock bottom. These people will of course not show you any empathy because they don't have the capacity to think about anyone or anything outside of themselves. And even if they do interact, it will be a very blunt, cold, rude message if you're lucky. Instead, they will say to themselves, it's my time now. I need to do what's right for me. They'll gaslight you and others saying, I don't know how much I've got left. I don't know how long I've got left on this world. I've got to seek every day, carpe diem, do whatever I can. When you pay and treat them, don't expect it back because they believe they're worth it. When you do a favor out of the goodness of your heart and they take the piss, you become their full-time Uber driver. You become their assistant. You become their therapist because they don't give a shit about your time. They don't give a shit about your energy, your money, or what you're going through. And in terms of expectations and relying on these people, that is like building a house on sand. It is the stupidest thing you can do, but yet we've all done it. I remember interacting, trying to date and have a relationship, being around brutally selfish people in some of the most difficult, complex, traumatic times of my life. And they didn't give a shit. And instead made awful situations about them. They play the victim because they love the attention. They spin the narrative. At your worst and emotionally weakest, they will twist things and twist the knife to make you question and doubt everything. If and when that happens, that should be the biggest red flag of all. When you say to yourself, I am done, how could they do this? How selfish could they be? Comes your selfish trait to protect your life, your soul, maybe your family, your finances, and more. You have to detach from the idea that these individuals understand you. They don't. You have to detach from the idea that these people relate to you. They don't. The priority is and will always be what they want, what they want it, and when they want it as well. I don't want you to make the mistake to become brutally selfish yourself. This is a very, very common thing that happens where people say, well, I'm going to be like them. You know, if they get away with it, I will. But you won't last a couple of weeks, if that. You'll betray yourself, your soul, your heart to become a narcissist. The very thing you swore to hate and destroy. And you cannot reason with the selfish. You cannot negotiate. The only logical thing you can do is swallow the bitter pill of acceptance. These individuals are brutally selfish. It is mad to see how unattractive they are, and yet they think they're incredibly good looking. How smart they think they are when they're dumb as a plank. It is what it is. But what is not going to be accepted anymore is you laying down and taking it. You don't need to meet them with violence or brute force. You need to accept the brutal selfishness and then do the only selfish thing that you can do in this situation. Sever ties. Walk away. Keep at arm's length if need be and protect yourself. It's amazing when you are healing and you recover and you stand up for yourself and you learn that you can actually detach from brutally selfish people and narcissists, because what happens is better comes your way. More respect. More honesty. No bullshit. And if you'd like to connect with like-minded people online who are just like that, no bullshit, join my free community, the No Bullshit Society. The link is in the description and it's in the pinned comment down below. Please join today. So, what are some of the most brutally selfish things you've seen people do? Or say, or believe, or act? Please, share your thoughts and write it in the comments below, because you never know whose lives you will touch with those comments, those stories, who will resonate with such situations. It is absolutely remarkable how this shift has happened. And instead of moaning about it, we should accept it. And the more aware and awake we become, the more we stand up for ourselves and tolerate no nonsense, no bullshit, the more that wave and change dies down. If they can't manipulate and take from us anymore, what happens? They turn on each other and then they turn on themselves. And I will be there, as will you, when that day finally comes.